So, my little sister, Lindsay, asked me to describe balloons this time. Balloons are great. They're these colorful, lightweight orbs. They're useful for a few purposes. Idiotic travel. Um, a great way to play ball in the house. I mean, you can invent the most ridiculous games and get away with playing them indoors because you're not going to break as many things. I mean, if you dive on the couch and break the lamp, that's your fault, but it's not the balloon's fault. So, but the most important purpose in this society that I believe balloons serve is a possible harbinger to cake. Because when you see a group of people together and they gather and they, decorate with balloons, 9 out of 10 times there will be cake present. And that's a very important sign because depending on your people skills or simple ability to sneak and steal, you can probably get yourself a piece. It's fantastic. But the problem is those people that will, come together and decorate their little party, but not follow through on the promise of cake. And I believe that is one of the most important unpunished sins in this society. It's a problem. You can't promise something like that and not follow through. It's as if your parents wanted you to spend more time with family, so they get your creepy Uncle Bernie to dress up in a Barney suit to make you more likely to hang out with him. Then you may see him and think, oh, that's fun, it's Barney, let's hang out, let's be friends. But that's still creepy Uncle Bernie. And you're not going to have a good time. I mean, also that ruins the credibility for other gatherings of balloons. I mean, I'm not going to approach another person in a Barney suit ever again. Okay. So Jared wants me to describe news channels. Cable news channels, I assume, but it's whatever. News channels are a lot like, those talking animatronic parrots where you push the button, say whatever you want to say, and then it repeats it right back to you? It's a lot like that, except for everybody got together and decided that that talking parrot had a lot more credibility than it does. So you say whatever you want, the parrot looks back at you, says it again, and use that as a basis for your entire philosophy. And the parrot can tell you that, you know, this is dangerous, that's awesome, hooray for us, boo for them. Exactly what you want to hear. I mean, to reinforce your own ideal that you just told the parent you had. It'll even sit there and tell you that that guy over there listening to the mirror is wrong and is out to get you and wants to destroy your way of life. Okay. You go to him and you start a conversation. And you use the parrot as proof positive for everything you say, and he uses the mirror. Well, you're never going to come to a conclusion, so you just sit there and scream at each other. It's kind of an idiotic way to go about things. But the sheer amount of credibility that everybody has in their personal parrot, mirror, uh, maybe if you want to talk to your hands, I'm trying to do a hand puppet, lures people to invest money in getting their message across to you in these things. So maybe your parrot will occasionally have a cash for gold ad on it. And eventually that parrot becomes a multi-millionaire. It's odd, but it's a pretty good way to make money if you can get around to it. It's basically the idea of cable news. JP wants me to describe badgers. This should be fun. Badgers are these small, furry creatures. Live in the woods. 4 legs. Sharp teeth. I really don't know what you want from me. VJ wants me to describe creme brulee. Delicious, delicious creme brulee. For those of you who aren't cultured or amazing enough to know what it is, it's basically if you were to take a Bavarian cream-filled donut and squeeze the contents out into a cup. Cover the cream up with an enormous amount of sugar and then freebase the sugar. And let that harden up again and you've got creme brulee. The thing about creme brulee is that breaking the top to get to the sweet bottom is the most violence the wealthiest classes will commit themselves without using the military. Kent State, stuff like that. I mean, everybody wanted to beat up the hippies, but they were smart enough to use the military. Yeah. Creme brulee is a softer alternative to Kent State. Carol would like me to describe the Girl Scouts. Probably one of the greatest marketing campaigns in the history of any industry. The Girl Scouts are the result of just brilliant, brilliant business people. And the entire history is just completely unknown to us. Well, I know a little bit of it. I can tell you a few things. I can tell you that in the 1950s, Keebler Cookies was in trouble. Their cookies just weren't selling. They had had a series of fires, probably caused by operating ovens inside of a tree. And those elves were just about to lose their jobs. They had unionized, keeping the price of labor high, but they weren't selling enough cookies to keep staff, and they were just about to go under. Well, one day, in a dark, smoke-filled room in that tree, they weren't smoking. The oven had caught the tree on fire again. But they got together and they put together a plan. They had a few elves who would occasionally cross-dress on the side to make a little extra money and perform at nightclubs. It's a fun little competition. You lip sync to a popular song at the time. And yeah, you had to do it really underground in the 50s. That was taboo, but it's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Well, in between the club and the tree, people would compliment them on how cute of a little girl they were, how adorable, how nice, how sweet they looked. And they decided that instead of just being an elf selling cookies, which is kind of creepy, especially in the height of, the Red Scare, the Troll Scare, they were being confused for communist trolls. Bad news. You're not going to sell a cookie if you're a communist troll. So they decided to have their cross-dressing elves go out and sell cookies door to door. It was a brilliant maneuver, and about 15 years ago, they actually started having camps for little girls and cross-dressing elves. I mean, you can't really tell them apart, but all in all, I'd say it turned out well. I mean, I can't stop eating those Thin Mints.